What's up guys, it's Bebe. Welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to talk all about Camp EDC, the final part of my EDC recap and review. Like last year, I wanted to do a video just on camp just because there is so much to talk about. Camp in itself is an experience alongside EDC, so we're going to talk about everything today, all about this year, pros, cons, how my experience went in comparison to last year, and just a lot more like kind of nitty-gritty details about camp that maybe you can't find out on the website or stuff like that. So just gonna walk you guys through my whole process camping this year. And yeah, if you guys have any questions about camp, feel free to drop them down below. I'm happy to answer. I was doing that in a lot of my vlogs. Also, of course, if you want to see more footage in full of camp, check out the vlogs as well. So jumping into it, this time I flew in on Thursday morning. And camp you can start checking in at 9 a.m. on Thursday. So last year I actually flew to Vegas on Wednesday night and I did like an afternoon and night on the strip, and then we went to camp the next morning. This year I couldn't do that, so I just had to fly in really early Thursday morning and it was fine. The check-in process was pretty smooth for me just because I got there at a very strange time. Like a lot of people who get there on Thursday, they either get there like right in the morning or they kind of like straggle in the early afternoon, I feel like. But for me, I didn't get to camp until like 6:30 p.m. If you watched the vlogs, you saw my wristband pickup process got super fucked up. INSOMNIAC's whole system was down. It was a journey, okay? So I was gonna get to camp at like noon and didn't end up getting there till 6:30. But two people from my tent, Ronald and Obi, got there first, so they had already checked in and done that process. So you don't all have to arrive together, which is nice. So like they got there first and then I did, and then our other friend Maria got there much later in the night. Getting in, I breezed right through. There was no line. People were saying that the line around the time that I got there last year was pretty bad, and last year I got there around like 11:30 a.m. I want to say. And I saw videos of like the line to get through security and everything, and it did not look pretty. And I'm low-key kind of glad I didn't have to wait in that because it was so fucking hot on Thursday. It was like 105 degrees. It was like between 100 and 105. It was horrible during the day. So low-key, I'm kind of happy I didn't have to wait in line and stand in that because I do not do well in the heat. I don't think there's like a right time to get to camp. It kind of is hard because you want to get there earlier to do like pool parties and like go check out the mesa and everything. But honestly, getting there at like the time I did, like 6:30, was kind of nice because I just breezed right through. And then for security this year, again, it was really non-existent. Like the guy unzipped my suitcase and was like, I think they just don't know like what to even, because when you have a suitcase, I brought a full-size one, so I think they just like don't want to stand there and go it would just hold up the line so much. But it is a little worrying, and I talked about that in my EDC like festival recap, how lax security is getting at festivals. No me gusta, because you just don't know from a weapons standpoint what people, some crazy people, could be bringing in. So this year was much easier for me though because all I had was one suitcase. Last year we had like camping stuff, yada yada yada, but this year I just had a suitcase and that was it. And Maria, when she came later in the day, had like the few extra things we needed for camp because she drove from LA. We flew, so we couldn't really bring most of the camping stuff. This year for tent location, I was in Moonstone, so I did Moonglow camping, so that's like the lowest tier camping, or the lowest price point. So all you get is like the shift pod set up. You can have up to 4 people in there, and it's like the lowest price, and it's like the majority of Camp EDC. So I did Moonglow again this year, but I was in the Moonstone section. So again, I will have a map up here. Last year I was in Sapphire, this year was Moonstone, and we were like right behind the Ferris wheel and the stage, if you know like where the mesa is. So like the back of the mesa, we were like one of the first tents after that, like by like this little hangout area that they had. I wasn't a huge fan of this spot, to be honest. Like it was nice to like get into the mesa super quickly, so like when we wanted to like eat or go to pool parties, like run back and get more alcohol and go back to the pool, you know what I mean? Like that was very convenient. But I don't know, last year like being in Sapphire, I was so close to the festival entrance but also really close to a bathroom and a shower trailer, and not too far from the mesa. It's kind of a trade-off where you end up at camping and it's completely random. They don't like fill you in when you check in like by section. Like they just place you randomly. So if you're camping with other people, make sure to get there at the same time, because then you can ask to put your tents next to each other. I don't know, like the one perk of this year's spot is that our closest bathroom was a Speedway bathroom, not like the bathroom trailers, which I'll talk more about bathrooms in a second. But it was nice that we had like an actual one. We didn't have to use like trailer ones, even though the trailer ones are fine. Like it's nice to have like a big restroom with like a lot of sinks and like a bunch of stalls, you know what I mean? Overall, camping at EDC is just a trade-off. Like, there goes the sun. Every video, boo. Every video. Like, you can have certain conveniences in one spot that you don't have in the other, and like vice versa. Overall, when it comes to the trade-off, I preferred Sapphire over Moonstone because I preferred being closer to the festival and closer to a bathroom and shower area, and a little further from the mesa. Like, that was the trade-off that I preferred. But for the last 2 nights, I did get to sleep in an RV. My boyfriend Garrett had an RV. We like planned a lot of these festivals before we started dating, so we haven't stayed together at like, we didn't stay together at Ultra, we didn't stay together at EDC. A couple of his friends had to leave the weekend early for work, so I ended up being able to sleep in the RV Saturday night and Sunday night, and it was in the Sapphire section, so they were like right where my tent was last year, so that was nice. I like the Sapphire area the most, I think, but we'll see where I end up next year. For tent amenities, this year there was AC units. That was a whole thing in October. Some will argue that it didn't do that much because it was so fucking hot outside. Like, it was so hot. And I said this in a reply to someone's comment on my EDC recap, it just depends on your personal preference and what you're used to. I don't live with air conditioning, so to me, like, don't get me wrong, was I hot and a little uncomfortable? Yeah, but like, it wasn't the end of the world to me. But I do have to say, like, on the days where it was really hot, like, the AC units only go so far, and like, you have to be like keeping your tent closed and just like not moving around too much. Like, it still is really hot, you can't avoid that. But we did have AC units, which helped so much. They also help so much for sleeping, which is a perk I didn't even think of, because last year we didn't have them, and like, going to sleep could be really hard because the music is like blaring and pounding at like 9 in the morning. But when you have the AC units, it helps to like drown some of that out and creates like white noise, which I have to sleep with white noise. I'm one of those people. So I slept really well at EDC this year, the times that I did sleep. It was very sporadic sleep, but when I did, like, I actually was in a pretty deep sleep. So that's a perk that you don't think about with having AC also, besides staying cool. It just like is more comfortable noise-wise when you sleep. We had a power strip. This year they actually had working overhead lamps in the tent. We didn't have that last year, so that was nice. And then obviously the tent is already set up for you, which is so great for people like us who are flying in and like can't pack like all these camping essentials. It's all set up for you, which is great. All right, let's talk bathrooms and showers, because this was a hot topic online after EDC. I am so sorry to anyone else who camped, because the horror stories I have heard about the bathrooms are atrocious. Like I said, I had the Speedway bathrooms. Mine, the ladies' room was clean all weekend. Like, I didn't have any bad experiences. But even like Ronald was saying, like the men's one, which was the same bathroom just on the other side of the building, he said that one was disgusting. Like, I have friends who like avoided using the bathroom as much as possible because they were so filthy, which is just like disgusting to me. And I think if I had to deal with that, I would have had a meltdown, because I am in fact kind of a clean freak, and that's why I don't like jump to camping at festivals, because I just like to be clean. I am so sorry to all of you who experienced that. I didn't. My bathroom was clean all weekend. One thing that sucked is I had a very clean bathroom, but it was a little bit further of a walk. Like, I probably had to walk like 5-10 minutes every time I wanted to use the bathroom, which if you gotta pee, you gotta pee, like, hello. So we had like a line of porta potties pretty close to us as well, so like when we were like pre-gaming or like coming back and forth from the pool, whatever, we just used those. I can't complain, mine were always clean. As far as showers go, my shower trailer was always empty almost. Like, there was usually a few other people in there, but barely any. The first day there was no hot water for the showers, but it was hot as fuck outside, and I ended up taking cold showers all weekend. Like, every single shower I took was cold, just because it was the best and easiest way to just like cool your body down against the heat, and it just felt so good. Yeah, but the only day I like truly did not have hot water and didn't have a choice to do that was the first day. All right, let's talk camp parties. So like the pre-party on Thursday, the after parties, after EDC, the pool parties, all the parties. I actually do have some complaints about them this year, more so than last year. First of all, the lineups for the camp parties are the same fucking house artists over and over and over and over again. I felt like I was doing all the same parties as last year. Don't get me wrong, obviously there were new artists, but I just feel like, oh my god, I felt like I was at the same parties. And it just is like boring. Like, let's switch it up. There's no genre diversity at camp. They have one day of bass music. It was the same as last year. It was on the Saturday. And you couldn't even go because here's the next con. The lines to get into the pool parties. So I couldn't even go to the bass music pool party day because the lines literally, I wish I had took a video. The lines were like all the way back, like almost across camp. It was a joke. So I literally only went to one pool party this year. It was the Friday, like daytime one, because after that, like there were just too many people and you couldn't even get into the pool, which people were also trying to get in because it was so hot. So they were trying to cool off in the water, but like it was a mess. They did increase the camp capacity by 5,000 people this year. So that explains it, but it was so frustrating. And that's the amount of people that they added. I think that's also why the cell service was worse than last year, which is a whole other topic in itself. The cell service at camp this year was non-existent. Like last year you could maybe like get on social media early in the morning, or like when people were starting to go into the festival. Like I remember I could send like Instagram DMs. Couldn't even open Instagram this year. Nothing would load, absolutely nothing. My parents actually, like my dad texted me on Sunday morning and he was like, are you okay? Because like normally you post a lot of stories by now. I was like, I'm alive, I just literally have no service. It was way worse than in the fall because there were so many more people, I guess. Don't get me wrong, I love to disconnect for the weekend, and like I do find a silver lining in that is that I wasn't on social media and I was just like completely in the moment. But when you're trying to like meet up with people to go into the festival together, you're like figuring out which tent to meet at to like pregame before we go in. It's just like not having service in those moments is just frustrating, but they have so many more people camping now, so that's why. That's my spiel on the parties. It was just annoying. Like you offer all these amazing parties and like artists and stuff, and then people can't even get in. Like it's just frustrating. So I hope they fix that for next year. I don't know if they can maybe like expand the pool area. I'm sure they will once they saw how bad it was this year. And then for after parties, I only did the Saturday morning one. I just kind of sat in the mesa and watched that one. Sunday and Monday, I just kind of like walked. I just saw them in passing as I was walking through the mesa, like hanging out before going to sleep. The amount of people at the Monday after party, like after day 3, was insane. I'll put a video in here. People were cracked out. It was so bad. I couldn't believe how many people were still walking around. And then of course I did the Thursday pre-party, but I went to sleep pretty early because I didn't really care for the headliner and I wanted to get a good night's sleep. So I probably went to bed at like 1 AM, honestly. But yeah, that's the parties at camp. This year, you know, was kind of disappointing. Like the bass rush, I think it was a bass rush takeover for the Saturday pool. And it was just like disappointing because it was like such a cool lineup, and then I was so excited to go, and then I like walked past to check it out and you can't even get in. You gotta wait to get into the pool. And then I looked in and I was like, that's so crowded, like you can't even enjoy that, so what's the point? So that's like my main thing I hope they fix next year, is just like capacity issues. Like the pool party, girl, the pool parties were not cutting it. Like that should not happen. No, no, no. All right, let's talk the mesa. There was some new stuff this year, which was cool. Like they had a whole new hangout area by like the Sapphire section entrance. Like right next to the, if you guys know camp, it was like right next to the big shaded structure that does like yoga in the morning. It had like sand and chairs, and it was like a whole hangout thing. It was cool. The vendors were expanded on so much this year, which was awesome. Like last year it was kind of like the same like structure as like the food stands in a way. This year it was like a little, it was almost like a market type feel, and it was all under like a whole shaded thing, and it was a bunch of little shops. Like I got a new pashmina. They had so much cool like jewelry. Like it honestly was like fun to walk around and just like browse through. So I'm really happy with that. They also had a new like carnival games section over towards like Moonstone's entrance. Like by the stage there was all these carnival games. I didn't do any of them, but I thought that was cool. Then the roller rink was there again. It was sponsored by Beatbox this year, so Beatbox was at camp. Awesome. Yeah, so there was definitely like upgrades, you could definitely tell. And then as far as food goes, it was kind of the same thing as last year. They did have guys, they had a Just Egg pop-up. I don't know if people like could tell what it was walking by, but it's basically vegan eggs. And like I eat Just Egg. I'm not kidding you, every single day for breakfast, because eggs were like the last thing that I had to give up to become vegan, and it was so hard because I ate eggs for breakfast every day. When I found Just Egg, I was like, boom, easy, veganism. So they had a whole pop-up, and I remember last year walking around camp being like, oh, I just wish they had better like vegan breakfast options. Slay. I deadass like went into the activation and I was like, I eat this every day, like I'm vegan, and this like is what allowed me to be fully vegan. And they gave me so much free merch. I got like, I don't know where I put it, they gave me like a fanny pack, a tote bag, like a bandana, like all the merch. I was like, bless. Other than that, like for any of you else who are vegan, they do have other vegan options. I would normally eat, this is what I always do at festivals, I eat like 2 meals a day. I eat breakfast and then I eat like a good meal before I go in. So I would get Just Egg in the morning. They had like egg sandwiches, it was really nice. And then for before going into the fest, they had like Beyond Burgers, they have like vegan Mexican food. They had this really good sandwich shop that never had a line, and it low-key, it was giving. If you guys are from the Northeast or like New York and Jersey, it's like full-size hoagies. Like they were, I cheated veganism for that one. I got one with cheese, but it was so good and it was so filling before going in. And there was never a line, because that's the thing. A lot of these food places, you have to wait in a long line and it does suck. But that one was low-key the underdog. So if you're going to camp next year, look out for the sandwich shop. I hope they bring it back. I forget the name of it. It was an Italian name, I don't remember. All right, going in and out of the festival is super easy. Best part about camp is how convenient it is. Even Saturday, like I brought in a hoodie because I thought it was gonna be as cold as Friday, and then it was way too hot to be carrying a hoodie around. So I went back to camp and dropped it off, and you can do that in the middle of the festival and it's easy. It did take a little longer just because I, again, was in Moonstone, so I was like on the opposite end of camp from the entrance. So it was probably like an extra 10-15 minutes of a walk than if I was in the same spot in Sapphire as last year. So it was kind of a journey, but it was a good workout, you know what I mean? So that was easy. If you want to like go back and forth between camp, you can do that. And to get into camp, like you have your own entrance, so you're not with like everyone else who's attending. So you have your own security, your own wristband scan, like it's super quick to get in. I don't think we ever wait more than like 10 minutes to get in from our entrance. And then checking out of camp and leaving on Monday, we left around 1:30, give or take, in the afternoon. You just have to be out by 3, that's like the deadline. There's no formal checkout process, so you don't have to worry about like waiting in a line or anything. You just grab your stuff and go. And there's a specific pickup location for rideshare, so if you're Ubering back to the strip like we did, you just have to head to that little area in the parking lot. And as I mentioned in the recap last year, definitely budget for the Uber and try to split it with people who are also going back to the strip or straight to the airport, whatever, because it's an $150 Uber from camp to the strip, just a heads up. That's for an XL though, because there was 5 of us. Just wrapping up quick here on just like overall thoughts and would I return to camp. I'm definitely going to camp at EDC every year personally. I know people have some complaints about it, especially this year. I feel like there was a lot more negative being spoken about camp online, and I think it all comes down to the capacity because there were thousands more people camping this year. I just personally will always do it solely based off the convenience, like, and they have so many amenities there, and like it's not really like regular camping, it's very elevated camping. But now that I've done Moonglow twice and like I'm making a little bit more money now and I'm willing to spend a little more, next year I'm gonna do RV camping and see how that goes for the whole weekend, because like I said, I stayed in Garrett's RV for the last 2 nights and it's just more comfortable for so many different reasons. Like you can cook your own food, you are able to sleep like much easier because it's more comfortable, you're on like an actual bed, and it's quieter because you have a whole, like, you're inside a car, not just like a little tent. Air conditioning, bathroom, shower right there, like it's just, it's way more comfortable. So that's my plan for next year. I will be back at Camp EDC for sure. I'm just gonna do RV and I'm really excited. But yeah, I love Camp EDC. Like I said, I know there was a lot of negative kind of going around about it this year and people like talking a lot online, and I said the same thing in my like EDC festival recap, but the negative will always outweigh people talking about positives online. And personally, I think that the pros of camp are way worth the cons that you might have to deal with throughout the weekend. I don't personally think I'll ever stay in a hotel for EDC. Just, it's so much more convenient doing camp. It's so immersive. You're like immersed in the world of EDC for a weekend. It's nice to just disconnect. And yeah, those are kind of like my final thoughts. I really truly do like camping at EDC. I've done it twice now and I still would go back. But again, if you guys have any questions about camp, let me know. Next year I will be doing preparation videos for camp and for EDC beforehand, because now I feel like that I've done it twice, I can give you guys a lot more information. So definitely subscribe if you're not already. And thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.